There we are.
Amazing. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Thanks for Holding, the place for real talk on how technology is changing customer experience and e commerce right now. So, my name is Hugo. I'm founding engineer at 14 AI, and I have the pleasure to host this episode alongside Marie, CEO of 14 AI. Hi, Marie.
Hello, good morning, everyone, and hello from San Francisco.
So, today we're diving deep into the world of TikTok live shopping. And trust me, you don't want to miss this one. So, we're on hold with Jason Teramachi, who spent his day inside TikTok, directly helping live sellers explode their GMV and scale like crazy. So now he's out in the wild consulting with brands and creators. He's already driven over 14 million in live GMV sales, and now the number just keep climbing. So welcome, Jason.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you very much. Let's start with our first question, a little spicy one. So, Jason, what is the most absurdly funny or unexpected TikTok live moment that you've witnessed that actually drove a massive sale?
So I like to speak from my own experience. I've watched a lot of lives. I've seen some ridiculous things. I'm like, how did they do this? Or like, how did they not get a violation? Or like, oh my God, this is working. But I want to speak from my own experience.
Yeah.
So I worked with a lot of different sellers who sell shapewear. And we thought it would be funny to get me involved, obviously being a man, and seeing someone ridiculous wearing shapewear. So like, okay, how do we kind of gamify this and make it fun and engaging for the audience? So I would sit in with my sellers, just sitting there on a table on the back end, watching the live. And then the host would be like, oh, Jason from TikTok is here. Jason from TikTok is here. And then everyone would be like, oh, who's Jason? Who's Jason? In the comments. And the host would be like, okay, once we reach 50,000 likes or 100,000 likes or 200, whatever the number is, like, oh, we'll introduce Jason. We'll bring him into the live. And like, I'm always behind the scenes. I'm never in front of the camera. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And then they bring me up, and everyone in the comments like, oh my God, it's Jason, this and that. And then they're like, okay. And then they all have like questions for me. And then like, okay, if we hit another 100 or 200,000 likes, we'll bring Jason up, and then you can ask him any question. And they would ask some very personal questions like, where do you live? How's it working at TikTok? Are you single? Like, it was just like really, really funny. And I'm a firm believer of engagement leading to conversion. So what we did was like, okay, if we hit 1 million likes, Jason will put on any shapewear that you guys pick. So imagine me in this tiny pink shapewear on the live because we hit 1 million likes, and the engagement would spike because it's like, what is this guy doing wearing shapewear? And I would put it on, and you'd have the host helping me, and like the operator. It was this seller named Noelle Faja. So Noelle was the host. They were my biggest seller. She was the host, and her husband, who's like 6'5", is the operator. So you have me on stage with them, and he's like picking me up and like throwing me around, and I'm putting on like pink shapewear. So they thought it was really funny, and like obviously like it was just a good moment, and like things that you can like reshare, but like obviously like high engagement leading to conversion. And it's just like, it makes the live more fun and kind of more personable than just like sell. And like that was a common trend of me, like every seller wanted to bring me into their live. So like we had another one where it's like me and like I had a lot of shapewear sellers, and another one was like, okay, you and like my son or brother or cousin or whoever, you guys are gonna race to see who could put shapewear on first if we hit certain likes. So we did that. And then there was another one. It was like print on demand. It's like, okay, if we hit this amount of likes, Jason will model like this sweatshirt or whatever product you pick. So we got me involved a lot. But I've seen a lot of other like ridiculous like games and like things that can trigger kind of milestones when it comes to metric or to likes and comments and shares. Or I don't really like, oh, if we hit certain sales, we're gonna do something, because it just seems very kind of a little desperate. I like more on the engagement side, but I've seen some ridiculous things where it's like, oh, we're gonna play a game. Like I've seen like water pong, and it's like just like weird things. That's like, oh, we're gonna spin a wheel, and if it does this, then it's gonna trigger like a certain discount or things like that. Or like they bring in like guest hosts or someone in like a costume. I don't know. There's been some ridiculous things, but I like to share from like my own experience of like what
Yeah.
I've seen, and because I can see the impact that it has like on the live.
Yeah, that seems to be really creative. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
And in terms of mistakes, what has been the biggest ones that you have seen?
I think not being fully prepared and not being able to pivot as fast as we can. So while working with sellers, like I would push for certain things and they would push back, and maybe I should have pushed a little harder. So like one example was what really works on live has been like bundling products together.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we would have like these mega lives where it'd be 8 to 12 hours. And it's like, oh, your goal is $100,000. So it's like, okay, let's work backwards. How do we get to $100,000? It's going to be these products, these discounts, these promotional items, like all the things that go into like, how do we hit 100K? And one of the lives that we had, like we didn't have enough bundles to drive to 100K. Like, even though I'm like, okay, guys, like we need like 3 to 5, and they're like, no, we'll do 1 to 2, and like we don't have a lot of new products. And it's like, no, we need new products. So it's like, I, as an account manager, there's only so much I can do when I say like, hey, we need new product, we need more bundles, we need deep discounts to hit 100K, because I've seen it and they're just not listening. So I'm like, okay, like at a certain point, you just have to let them not fail, but experience, go through it, and then realize like, okay, Jason was right, and we actually need to do all these things.
Jason is always right.
Not always right. Not always right. Sometimes.
You have to listen to him.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we did Y Combinator, and our YC partner is always right. It's a bit the same.
Yeah, because I've done it. I've gone through it. I've experienced it working with big sellers, working with small sellers. And there's only so much you can do. And like, you can't really push them. And like, sometimes I want them to go live longer, but they don't want to go live longer. I'm like, okay, like my goals and their goals are completely different. So it's like, you can only do what you can do.
Yeah, I see. So we wanted to ask you, like, everyone is talking about like energy on live, and we really want to know like specifically what separates hosts who consistently crush conversion. Like, what are they doing exactly that really stands out?
I think they're able to like successfully balance, and like we've talked about this like at TikTok, and I've seen like some of the questions that we were bouncing back, like what makes a good host, and like the energy. I think it's someone who's able to like successfully balance the salesy aspect of it, where they're like, okay, I need to talk about the product, I need to get through my points, I need to run through this flash sale, but it's also like, how do I make it fun and exciting where it's not just like a QVC infomercial? Like, we've all seen it where it's just like, you have 10 minutes to buy, and like buy, and like do this and do that. Like, it just comes off a little desperate. So it's like, if you're able to like talk to the comments, engage, ask questions, and then also kind of just like have that energy and just be fun with it. Like some of my best brands and sellers that I worked with, like it wasn't always just about selling. Like they would have songs and music and dancing and singing and just like multiple hosts and just talking back, and just like also like still like talking about the products. But it's just like, it can't just be one or the other. Like, I think my 3 E's are like entertain, educate, and engage. So it's like, cover those 3 and I think you'll be good. But having the right host makes a big difference, because I've seen really good ones, and I've just seen like ones where it's just like they're just maybe hired by a third party, and they're just there to collect their check and maybe a commission. But like when it's the brand owner, and a lot of the brands that I worked with, it was like the founders and the owners just out of the back of their stores, and it's just like, you can feel it, like they're heavily invested, and like that comes across in the lives, where it's like, I believe in this product, this is why I love it, and this is why you might like it too. But like also like connecting with their fans and customers, while also like addressing the new ones that are coming in. It's like, oh my God, like if you've never shopped with us, we are such and such brand, we've been around for this many years, we're from here. And like talking about those things, like those are some of the bullet points that I give to my sellers. I'm like, the majority of people in your lives don't know you. They just stumbled across your live, and they could be potential new customers. So it's like, how do we engage with them? So how do we get those conversions, but also like striking up a conversation and involving them in like the process?
Yeah, I can see.
Also, we speak a lot about what to do during a live.
Mhm.
But preparation, like a marathon, is key.
Mhm.
Can you share more about what are the key elements in preparation and also after the live to do to even increase conversions?
Sure. So there's a lot of things that go into kind of preparing for your live. I want to take maybe a few steps back and talk about what would help a lot of sellers. So oftentimes we're seeing sellers go live maybe a few times a day, a few times a week to every day. And it's like, okay, if you're available very often, how do you differentiate your lives? So one, I would suggest for them to register their live so people get a notification and that they know like, oh, they're going to be live this date, this time.
Yeah.
And then you can send out a CRM message through TikTok, which is basically a messaging system where you're able to segment different groups. Like, hey, especially for like a mega live, which is like 8 to 12 hours, and you're planning and promoting it weeks out. So it's like, I'm going to send out these messages. I'm going to get 1,000 people to register for this live. We are going to have new products. We're going to have new bundles. We're going to have discounts. We're going to have auctions. Whatever you have, it's just like you have to build up to something, because if you're going live every day, it's just people have too much access, and it's like there's no sense of urgency where it's like, oh, I'll buy it tomorrow. So it's like if you're not differentiating your lives, different products, different offers, different, maybe you switch up the set every now and then, maybe a multiple host, like how do I make it so people are coming in and maybe they're staying and they're converting, but maybe they want to come back another day. So I think the mistake a lot of sellers make is like, we're going to keep everything the same, but expect different results. So it's like, you can't do that and just do the same thing over and over again and expect things to go different, but like it's all in the preparation. So your scripting, your product assortment, your discounts, but also a big part of that is promotion that a lot of people overlook, because it's like the algorithm is going to send people to your live, but it's like you need to build awareness and bring your fans, because it's like if you post a few videos, maybe they see it, but how do I engage with my fans and how do I get them into the live, because those are the people who are going to have the highest propensity to buy something. And then we need to find a way to reach other people who don't follow you. So it's like, maybe it's posting across different platforms, maybe it's your emails, maybe it's a messaging service, but let's get as many people into your live so you're not just relying on the algorithm, because the algorithm is going to do whatever it wants. But yeah, there's a lot of preparation, and then after the fact, it's doing a deep dive. And like what I do with my sellers is like, okay, let's look at the live, what worked, what didn't work, what products converted the best, and how do we make any changes from here that's going to help us grow week over week.
Yeah, I see. Just have a follow-up questions on all the insights that you gave. I know that you were working at TikTok and at Amazon. So do you have a sense of like how different you have to behave? What are like the key differences when you are live shopping on TikTok versus Amazon? Like, are there specific like guidance for Amazon, for example? Because you mentioned the CRM that you can use for TikTok. Is it the same with Amazon?
Honestly, if you're thinking about Amazon, you're on Amazon, I think you should just make the switch to TikTok.
Yeah.
I think it's a little too late for Amazon. Like they had a lead, like the Warriors, they blew a 3-1 lead. So it's like they had their opportunity. But that's kind of in the past, and the social kind of commerce has evolved where Amazon is an e-commerce platform trying to get into social, whereas it was a little easier for TikTok to pivot into social, getting into commerce.
Yeah, I agree.
And they already had the audience. So it's like, it's night and day, and Amazon Live was more creator focused versus brand focused. Whereas TikTok, there is a balance of both. But the majority, I would say, like obviously there's a lot of creators that are doing really well, but the majority of the GMV is being driven by brands versus the creators. Online.
And Instagram, what are your thoughts on Instagram?
They had it too. I don't know what happened. Like that's kind of where Whatnot evolved from, where sellers were or people were going live on Instagram and selling things. And I know Instagram had shopping and they were dabbling, and then Whatnot comes out of nowhere and kind of runs with the concept and does extremely well. So it's like, I don't understand why these bigger companies didn't kind of take advantage of the opportunity. And like, even when I was at a streaming platform called Bigo, like we did an early form of live shopping. And this is a trend that I've been monitoring for years and years and years, because I saw what was going on in China. So it's like, I've been monitoring this, and like, I've been like kind of taking note of what's going on around the world, and I knew this was going to come to the US at some point, but I feel like Amazon Live and Instagram didn't take it as seriously as they should have.
I see. So yeah, it's tough. I feel like TikTok has got this massive trend now. People are really on live shopping on TikTok, but I feel like it's become more and more popular, and so now it's hard to stand out. So do you have like recommendations on how to stand out specifically? So you mentioned, for example, like targeting specific audiences, being on the reminders and notifications so that they can see you. But do you have like other recommendations on what creators can do?
I think having kind of a good live set, and it doesn't need to be like over the top. Like obviously there's a lot of different agencies who are building live sets, but even just at a minimum where it's like some decoration, your brand name somewhere, or like just something to catch people's eyes. Because a lot of times I'll be swiping and like I'll see a live, and I know like I could tell if it's an agency versus a non-agency because the agency is just like they're doing a little too much sometimes. But sometimes I see a brand, I'm like, oh wow, like I actually really like their live set, and like it catches my eyes, and I'm like, okay, now I want to sit and watch, because like the algorithm is going to send traffic that people that don't follow you and have never shopped from you and like things like that. But you really want to like grab their attention, like with your brand name or any overlays, stickers, like because you just want to break through the noise, and it's going to get more and more competitive. And there is a metric called enter room rate. So it's like the amount of people that are seeing your live versus the amount of people that are entering into your live. So it's like we want to get that number up to like 3 to 4%. And a lot of sellers, brands, I guess creators might be around like 1 to 2. So it's like making those minor tweaks. So it's like people who are scrolling, like how do we grab their attention? And sometimes it's just like you need to make those changes.
And so question from the audience. So of course, everyone wants to make more money and even more money. So what are the metrics that are important for sellers to be looking at when doing shopping live shopping, sorry?
Sure. So you have a dashboard and sellers will be like, give me a few metrics to look at. I'm like, it's hard to just pick a few because GMV is like high level, but there's a lot of metrics that can go into impacting your GMV. So if I'm a seller, I'm like, okay, I need to just look at a few. So there's one called GPM, which is like your GMV per thousand. So it's like, this is benchmarking our efficiency. So it's like, okay, that's a good one to start with. And like that goes down to the product level as well. But if we're looking at kind of other metrics, it's like, okay, our enter room rate. Are people entering into our live? Our CO, which is our conversion rate. Are people converting? Our click-through rate. Are people clicking onto the product? So there are an average order value, like how much are people ordering? Like all of these things. And like once you realize like it's all kind of like a puzzle, and like attacking them, because it's like live is not something you can just like a la carte. It's like, unfortunately, there's a lot of things that go into it that you need to adjust and pivot. And that's what I do with my sellers. Like every week we're going to go through, but it's like coming up with a game plan, coming up with action items. So if there are a few, like there's going to be endless amount of metrics, but I would say like those are good to look at. And then there's always a way to like increase your average order value. So it's like, okay, maybe we introduce bundles, maybe we introduce gift with purchase. There's always ways to increase that order value if we're providing more value to the customer where they feel like they're getting a better deal. But conversion rate, click-through rate. So it's like click-through rate's like, okay, looking at our product description page, or like, is the host like guiding people? It's like, oh, here's the cart. Here's the products. Look at number 21. This is the one that we're going to be talking about next. Or like, make sure like we have this product pinned. Like all the things that you need to be doing like actively during the live to kind of drive towards conversion, towards GMV.
Okay, I can see. The next question I have for you is like we talked about all the live setup, how you have to do like your stage, how you make sure that people are aware of your live for notifications and so on. But regarding the post-live follow-up, like it's often overlooked. And wanted to know, like, do you have a smart workflow that you've seen to like turn a one-time live buyers into like repeated customer for the brands? Like, what are the key insights here?
So there are things that we can do. I'd say brands should turn on live highlights. So the live highlights are clips of your live while you're live, which also could help as people are scrolling, but also like after the fact. Because
Okay,
that
yeah.
content will live in your feed and people were like, oh, like I saw their live, like, oh, like this is what I can get. This is like a kind of a taster or sample of like what I can expect in the future. But also like going back to the CRM, it's like, okay, we can retarget people who are first-time customers or purchased or didn't make a purchase, and to let them know that the live is coming up, or send them a coupon or a new customer coupon, first-time buyer coupon. So there's always a ways to like target people who haven't made a purchase or people who are actively purchasing to raise the awareness that a live is coming, that there are things going on. But yes, like after the fact, I think it's important to kind of repurpose your content, let people know like what's coming up next, and just always be like raising the awareness of like your lives, and just making a point of emphasis like live is like where they can get good deals and good products and come and hang out. So I would say like those would probably be the best kind of suggestions there.
Amazing. And you have so much knowledge, and you decided to leave TikTok to create your own adventure. Can you share more about what made you want to be an entrepreneur, and how are you now helping brands?
Yeah, so I left TikTok a few months ago, and it was a great experience, and I learned a lot, and it was probably one of the most challenging roles that I've ever had, where managing 40 brands plus all the other side projects and working with the team and always traveling and being on site. The parts that I loved the most was engaging with the brands, doing the meetings, being on site, coaching them, and seeing kind of their results. But I lost a lot of that over the time, where it's become pretty overwhelming. So it's like, I want to take a step back and really focus on what I enjoyed about the role, and maybe do it in a smaller scale. So instead of 40 plus brands, maybe it's 10 brands that are really dedicated to live, that I can spend more time and effort with, because a lot of the smaller brands that I was working with, like I didn't have enough time in the day to meet with them, or I couldn't get to them and I didn't have the bandwidth. So it's like, I want to give all the parts of me and all like my time and energy to the brands that are really fully invested in live. But I think if I focus on 10 versus 40 to 50, I'll have more time to give to them, and I can make a bigger impact.
Amazing. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you very much. So do you want to add any more question, Marie?
I think I have one last spicy one.
Spicier the better.
It's a personality test. If you had to describe the ideal live shopping host personality in 3 words that aren't energetic, authentic, or engaging, what would they be?
Okay, so I thought about this, and I'm cheating a little bit because I do have like 3 that I wrote down. Organized. So I've seen a lot of hosts where they're just like, they're all over the place. And I think, and rightly so, it can get very overwhelming when you have all these comments and you're trying to get to this, you're trying to get to that, you're trying to remember your talking points, like you have your operator yelling at you, and like there's so much going on in the live. But if a host is able to kind of like calmly like balance all the things, work well with their operator, and like one of my biggest pet peeves is like when someone in the chat's like, oh, can you show me number 34? And then the host is like, oh yeah. But it's like, no. That's not right. Like we shouldn't be doing that. And a lot of hosts feel bad that like, oh, I feel bad that I'm not getting to it. But it's like, we need to lead with data. And like, you can always say like, oh, we'll come back to that at some point. So organization, I would say, is very key, where they're able to kind of balance the chat, balance their talking points. Maybe they have a co-host, maybe the operator saying, like, there's a lot going on and it can feel very overwhelming. And I've been like, my training I've done with live, and it's just like, it's a lot. And it could feel like an eternity standing up there. So more power to the hosts that are able to do it. And I think over time, you get better and better at it. But there are some hosts that are just like, they're just naturally gifted at this. And it's just like not something you can teach. And those are the ones that you're going to see like the best performance. Secondly, I would say personable. So you can tell like where someone's like, you are made for live, you are entertaining. And they can switch it on and off. Like I've have hosts where it's like, once they get in front of the camera, like they're a completely different person. And maybe they have like an entertainment background. Maybe they've done something in live or on the radio, like wherever they go, like whatever they've done in the past life, it can translate into like being a crazy entertaining host. So if they're personable and like building that relationship, it's like, oh, like Jackie, thanks for coming back to my live, and like remembering things, and like they have their core audience, but they're also able to like engage with new people. So it's like having that kind of personable quality, I think translates really well. And then I think being flexible. So a lot of times if you're giving feedback or it's like we need a pivot, something's not working in the live where they're not getting kind of like frustrated and they're not getting overwhelmed. I think if you're able to kind of think quickly on your feet, take feedback in the moment, and just be able to kind of change directions in a live, that really sets them apart.
Yeah. Okay. Well, amazing. Thank you very much for this great discussion, Jason. We're very lucky that today you went on the other side of the camera to speak with us. We didn't have to wait until a certain sale amount to see your face. So thank you very much for being here. This will conclude today's episode.
I can be talking for like another 30 minutes. I enjoy this. Like,
thank you.
I love
thank you very much. That was really nice. But don't worry, we'll be back soon. We'll have our next episode on January 21st. You'll see the link popping up in the comments very soon. Don't hesitate to tune in to register to this new live. And again, have a great day. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you,
Before we
Jason.
sign off, I want to say thank you to Jessica and Xavier, my old coworkers and colleagues, for joining. I see them in the chat. I see Alyssa too. We used to work together, and obviously Katie. So it's a lot of great people in the chat, and I appreciate them joining.
Thank you very much, everyone.
And thank you for your energy, Jason. And next time we will ask you if you are single or not.
You have to hit 10,000 likes. 10,000 likes.
Have a good day, everyone.
Have a good day.
Have a good one. Bye.